The decisions that you've made today, the reprieve that you're offering a number of Canadians, including many rural ones, is not going to impact in any way the overall objectives that you set out very specifically to reduce emissions.
I think it will have a huge effect in 3 years' time when we have a critical mass of people in Atlantic Canada who have switched from home heating oil, which is far more polluting than heat pumps, and will save people a lot more money. And this gives us the opportunity to do that. The point is not, at the end of the day, scoring political points because you're consistent on this or whatever. The point has always been and should always be, we need to get people to start lowering emissions, even in the residential and domestic use, because all of that adds up to a lot. And if we can do that by making it affordable for people and get rid of the upfront cost, we're off to the races.
The decisions that you've made today.
Let me just preface this. That's not Doogie Howser. That's not Neil Patrick Harris. His name is Seamus O'Hagan. Hold on, what's his name again? Seamus O'Regan. He's a Canadian politician. He might very well be Neil Patrick Harris's brother from another mother, sister from another mister, the joke I just made in our locals community. That's a Canadian politician, a member of Justin Trudeau's Liberal government, explaining how they are pausing their carbon tax. We'll get to an article summarizing it in the Maritimes because cost of living in Canada, as elsewhere, is getting to be so high that they can't continue to impose these policies that increase the cost of living. He posted this thinking it makes him look good. I just want to highlight one sentence that if you're astute, or if you follow me on Twitter or in our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community, you know that I've already highlighted.
The reprieve that you're offering a number of Canadians, including many rural ones, is not going to impact in any way the overall objectives that you set out very specifically to reduce
the carbon tax. You know what the funny thing is? The carbon tax is not going to do anything overall to reduce emissions. You know why? Because even if you buy into the emissions argument that emissions are the be-all and end-all of climate change, Canada as a whole emits 1.25% of global emissions. So you could shut off Canada entirely, not just carbon tax here and there in the Maritimes that cripples the cost of living in Canada, and it would do nothing. But hold on. They're offering a reprieve because the cost of their other policies of printing cash, massive immigration, that has its problems as well. They're offering a reprieve. Let's hear how the politician justifies his volte-face, comme on dit en français.
I think it will have a huge effect in 3 years' time when we have a critical mass of people in Atlantic Canada who
Doogie Howser, man, I'll tell you what.
Far more polluting than heat pumps, and will save people a lot more money. And this gives us the opportunity to do that. The point is not, at the end of the day, scoring political points because you're consistent on this or whatever.
The point at the end of the day is not to score political points because you're consistent. He posted that thinking that makes him look good and not like a raging hypocrite. Oh, look, the point here is not consistency. The point here is not logic, and it's not following through on our promises because the world is literally going to end. Every now and again, it's good to be inconsistent. It's good to be a hypocrite. It's good to come back on your policies after all the doom and gloom. It's outrageously hilarious that he thought that makes him look good as opposed to looking like an absolute partisan hack buffoon. Yes, I'm using lots of mean words, but I'm backing them up with hard facts, people. This is it. So is this it? Is this the right article? Get that. Saskatchewan vows to stop collecting Canada's carbon tax on heating. I think this is the right article. The leader of the Canadian province Saskatchewan vowed to stop collecting carbon taxes on homes heated with natural gas from 2024 if Ottawa does not expand an exemption announced last week for the Atlantic provinces. There's a sentiment in Canada that is supporting the Wexit, which is the Western Brexit of Canada, the Western Canada breaking away from Canada, from the country that is Canada, because a lot of people feel that Trudeau and his quasi-liberal government, they're actually fascist tyrants, we'll call them liberals just for the sake of it, have had an all-out war on the Maritimes, on the Western provinces, the gas industry, and they take all of the wealth from the Western provinces, siphon it over to Quebec, Ontario, and the Maritimes, and the West is pissed. And now Justin Trudeau, after crippling the West through all of his policies on no more gas and pipelines in Canada, we're going to, beg on our hands and knees for Saudi Arabian oil and Venezuelan oil. Yeah. After he's done doing all of that, he's giving an exemption to the Maritimes that apparently he has not extended to the Western provinces. Thursday, and I'll highlight this next paragraph as we go forward, and then I'm going to make sure that we're live everywhere that we should be. On Thursday, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said he would pause the carbon levy. Oh, the carbon levy. It's like the episode of The Simpsons. We got to find a word that doesn't sound like tax. How about colossal cash grab? No, you see, Milhouse, that's just as bad. It's a levy, people. It's a levy. It's not a tax. It's a levy. Let's just hear what this goes. On heating oil for Atlantic Canada to offset the high price of the fuel that is mainly used in the maritime provinces and help them counter cost of living expenses. I cannot accept the federal government giving an affordability break to people in one part of Canada, but not here, said the Prime Minister Mo. So that's the insanity coming out of Canada. Policies that drive up the cost of living. What just happened here? Let's close this down. Drive up the cost of living. And despite all the promises, the doom and gloom, we will die. The earth will end. How dare you steal the lives, the futures of children across Canada? No. To get some political points, because the policy is jacking up the cost of living. People out in the Maritimes, I mean, they're not rich provinces out in the Maritimes. I think they're among the most, I don't want to use the word impoverished, the least financially well-off provinces in Canada. So to offset that and the cost of their policies, they're going to give a little benefit here to the Atlantic provinces, but not to those rich, bad Western provinces. And then you got Seamus O'Regan coming on Twitter, posting that on Twitter. The point is not consistency for policies, okay? The point is that we need to be able to do whatever we want, regardless of our policies, regardless of consistency, inconsistency, hypocrisy. And when we do it, we're virtuous for having done it. It's the liberal fascist way. Okay. Deep breaths. We'll start off with something lighthearted. There will be no geopolitics discussed today. Today we're going to be discussing, I mean, it's not the fall of America, because if I believed it were the fall of America, I would not have made a decision to temporarily, short-term, long-term, who knows, relocate to Florida. What we are witnessing in real time is the absolute exposure, the unclothing, if you will, of the corruption of the judicial system, the prosecutorial system, and the political system in the United States, with the Trump persecution on all fronts, on multiple states. It's so much you can't even count anymore. I posted a tweet earlier today, one of the consistent trolls in my Twitter feeds, didn't even know which, confusing the persecutions. Doesn't even know which one we're on yet. We're going to talk about the trial in Colorado to have Trump removed from the ballot for inciting the insurrection, to quote Chuck Schumer. We're going to talk about the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, persecution of Trump, and apparently calling his 3 kids as witnesses in the coming days. There was another Trump one that we're going to talk about. Oh, the D.C. case. The judge being re-gagged by Judge Chutkan, who gagged him, temporarily reprieved her own gag so that she could hear the grounds of appeal of Trump. And then after having heard the grounds of appeal said, no, you know what? I was right when I gagged him in the first place. I'm going to re-gag him pending the aggregate appeal, which this will go up to the appellate process through. So that's what's on the menu for today. Then we have some fun stuff. We're going to go, I might live stream the Colorado trial because it's being live streamed. For anybody who was watching Joe Neerman, good logic out of New York, and I think his Twitter handle is now called The Following Program. The audio sucked. The audio for yesterday's hearing, it didn't just suck, it was useless. So live streaming that would be useless, frustrating, and counterproductive. Short of just sitting in front of a camera all day you could barely hear the answers. You could only hear the questions, which gave you a decent gauge as to, what the hell was going on. So we'll see if the audio's better today. Maybe I'll stream it after we talk about what we got to talk about today. But maybe not. But I clipped some highlights yesterday because I watched it so that you don't have to. Much like the January 6th Kangaroo Court Committee hearings. I watched it so that you didn't have to. And yesterday I watched it so you don't have to. And my one-sentence summary before we get into the subjects of the day, we're going to start with a lighthearted one. This is nothing but a rehashing. It's like the iteration 2.0, the crappy sequel to the crappy original of the Kangaroo Court January 6th committee. And it's starring the same characters. Forget what the name of the Capitol Police officer. He's testifying again. Eric Swalwell was one of the witnesses yesterday. Okay, let me just make sure that we're live everywhere we're supposed to be. Okay, we're live on the Rumbles. We are live on vivabarneslaw.locals.com. And we're live on YouTube. And what we're going to do is we're going to end on YouTube, I don't know, in a few minutes after we do a couple of subjects, go over to Rumble. And then depending on whether or not I cover the trial live, we will either continue that or I'll end and we'll have our after party at vivabarneslaw.locals.com. I'm going to flag this, I'm going to star this comment and come back to it later because I've got some thoughts on it. All right, we're going to start with a light-hearted, funny, what was the moment where it was during a presidential campaign? Someone had a moment and they said that was the end of the campaign. I have not seen the entire interview, but DeSantis was on Patrick Bet-David, and there's a video going around now going viral. I'm sure some people are going to say this is the moment that's going to end DeSantis' run for presidency. I will not say that because I think it all ended a long time ago, and it has nothing to do with DeSantis in particular. Nobody's got a chance in that field against Trump. And one of my lingering thoughts is that anybody who doesn't object, anybody in that field who doesn't vehemently object to what's being done to Trump is implicitly, tacitly, or deliberately benefiting from the persecution for their own political goals and aspirations, which is problematic. DeSantis, I'm trying to find out how tall the dude is. Look, I will never judge anybody for being tall or short, for that matter. I always say that I'm 5'5" and a half because 5'6" is a respectable height. And if people find out that I lie to get to what I think is a respectable height, that would be mortifying. When I wear shoes, I'm obviously over 5'6". I just got a pair of Asics Kayanos yesterday. With those things, man, I'm 5'6" and a half. I'm living large. But people are accusing DeSantis of lying about his height as if it matters. I had an exchange with Ian Miles Chong on Twitter today. Jenna Ellis. There's an interesting thing. When people have humorous, lighthearted, clearly less than serious positions or tweets or comments to make about some people, those who get offended by it or those who are upset by it politically or whatever, always run off with the same, there's more important things to talk about than DeSantis' height. Like, first of all, yeah, we can walk and chew gum at the same time, and nobody's taking this seriously except for the people who seem to be offended by it, which some are suggesting DeSantis is. He goes on Patrick Bet-David, and I'll show you the clip. It's hilarious. And like people are breaking this down on the internet, showing diagrams of like what must be going on in DeSantis' boots. It's the DeSantis BootGate. It's a BootGate. Hey, check this out. Here we go.
I'm sure your marketing team points out how they're trying to troll you in the marketplace. Okay, I'm sure they're doing that. Can you bring this one clip? I know you were on, what do you call it? On, what was it? Bill Maher, and Bill Maher talked about the boots. I've seen you walk with these boots. Go ahead and play this clip.
Das
This
Boots.
on TikTok went viral. It doesn't have 1 million views. It doesn't have, 10 million views. This thing's got 1.2 million likes. And
Now, so I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with TikTok. If it's got 1.2 million likes, I presume that's like, it means it's got exponentially more views. Unless we can actually see how many views it's got there. We can't. Whatever. I don't care. Okay.
some people are wondering,
what are they? I don't even. I haven't seen that.
They've not shown this to you. Okay,
No.
what they're trying to say with this is that in your boots you have heels.
No,
Can you imagine? Dude, I don't think back in the day they put this much effort into determining the JFK assassination. I mean, this is some serious, this is like the aggregate knowledge of the interwebs. There's a word for it that I don't like using about the people on the internet who are so intelligent, focusing on minute details. There's a term for it, which I don't use. They're at work right now in graphing this out, and it's hilarious.
oh no, no,
That's
yeah,
what they're trying to say.
those are just standard off the rack. Lucchese.
How tall are you? How tall are you, Governor? How tall?
5'11".
5'11". Okay.
There's some body language going on there. 5'11".
Okay.
I don't know Ron DeSantis at all. I've never met him in person. I wonder if he doesn't have that good of a sense, not good in an insulting sense, if he doesn't have a developed sense of humor for whatever the reason. And so, though people who don't have a sense of humor, not malicious people, but just people who are not endowed with a natural sense of humor, might have a harder time laughing at themselves. I have a natural well-endowed sense of humor. I have no problem laughing at myself. In fact, I probably laugh at myself more than other people on the internet laugh at me. But it doesn't look like DeSantis is getting the humor of the situation to make the requisite lightness of it. That would be so much more beneficial than taking it too seriously.
Why don't you wear tennis shoes and dress shoes?
I do wear tennis shoes when I work out. Yeah, 100%.
You do?
Yep.
Okay. I got a gift for you. I'd love for you to wear, okay, I shop at Ferragamo. Okay.
Oh, he shops at Ferragamo. Humble flex, PBD. You know where I shop? I shop at Dick's Sporting Goods. And okay, I'll get into that afterwards.
Yeah. I don't accept gifts. I can't accept it.
Oh God, he just needs to have the humor. First of all, he said Ferragamo. I thought he said Bruno Mali at first. So there was a joke that I had that was not applicable anymore. But
I'm sorry.
So he can't accept the gift, which is ethical, by the way. So in all the patent lack of innate humor, he's got a good. I mean, obviously he's got to be ethical because it's broadcast, and he can't accept gifts without getting screwed. So he called them Lucchese boots, which I looked up. It seems like the entry-level Lucchese boots start at $500. American. Which I found flabbergastingly expensive. But I think I'm an old, crotchety, out-of-date, like I used to be with it, and now what's with it is not it, and I'm no longer with it. Apparently, like, that's not egregious or outrageous. I remember being a kid. I mean, you know, inflation is what it was, but like, I had to beg my parents for like shoes that cost $100. I guess that was maybe a lot back then. In fact, not maybe. It was a lot back then, but it doesn't seem like the shoes have gone up that much because in terms of inflation. But either way, $500 for a pair of boots, and that's just the starting. I saw something like 1,000, 2,000, and that's nuts. I think it's nuts. But Lucchese, how the company says it, Lucchese. Everything about this should have been humorous. It should be joking. It should be a lighthearted reprieve from the miseries of the world. So everyone taking it more seriously than they should. Lighten up. But I like the fact that DeSantis reflexively says, I cannot accept gifts because if I accept gifts, they will indict me, they will impeach me, they will lock me up, and I won't be able to run for president anymore. Oh, yeah, see, the only shoes I got as a kid were hand-me-downs. You see, it's the benefit of being the youngest of five. Like, hand-me-downs don't survive 5 kids, so I was able to, you know, that, and I have bigger feet than my oldest brother, so there's that. That's the lighthearted stuff of the day. Lucchese boots, I thought were expensive. They call it BootGate because the question is, how tall is DeSantis? He said 5'11". Jack Posobiec said, I smell exaggeration. Nobody if you're 5'11", you round it up to 6 feet, is his logic. I say that's false because I'm 5'5" and a half and I don't round it up to 5'6", even though my license says 1.65 meters. So that's it. Let's see here. At Viva Frei, exactly. PBD were all heavy with Katie Hopkins, who is a comedian, so she shredded them. And then we got watching from Alberta, Canada. Well, you, Beulah. You must be knowing exactly what's going on with Canadian politics and how Trudeau has waged war against the West, according to many. Okay, that's the lighthearted stuff of the day. We're going to do one Trump persecution over here. Which one do we do, people? Which one do we think that we want to do here? I'm going to go to all my footmarks. I think we need to save the Trump trial, the Colorado trial, for Rumble because it's going to last longer than 15 minutes and I don't want to break it up. I think we'll do. There's not much to report in the New York Letitia James persecution. I mean, let's just actually break this all down. Just like, you know, we got to itemize these persecutions because they have gotten too many to count. Okay, number one, you've got the state court hush money charges against Trump. Soros-funded Alvin Bragg coming out of New York. Okay, that's one. You've got your tax fraud from Soros-funded Attorney General. I've been told, and that there's indirect funding from Soros entities, yada yada. We'll give the benefit of the doubt and not throw in the Soros funding there. You got Soros-funded Alvin Bragg, New York. That's the hush money payment. Okay, that one's ongoing. Number two, out of New York State, Letitia James fraud case against Trump in front of Judge Engoron, the man who says, I've got tools to do exactly whatever I want and create the results I want in law. That's 2. You've got the Florida classified documents case that is currently pending. For whatever the reason, brought out of D.C., moved to Florida. Venue shopping, doesn't matter. That's 3. 4, you've got the D.C. case in front of Judge Chutkan. That is the January 6th insurrection case, if I'm not getting them confused myself now. The January 6th incitement of the mob case. That is the one in which there's a gag order, as there is in the Engoron case. What are we up to? Okay, 2 out of New York, Florida, D.C. Then we've got the Georgia case. That is Fannie Willis. We're not talking about that one right now. That's the one in which there have been a number of defendants pleading. That's number 5. Number 6 now is the new one that we're going to start talking about a lot, because that's the trial that's going on this week, is the Colorado lawsuit brought by an activist organization. By voters. 4 of them are Republican, to keep Trump off the ballot because of insurrection, which there has been no adjudication of, finding of anywhere. In fact, to the contrary, there was an acquittal on the second impeachment, which had to do with inciting the insurrection. So we're going to start with New York. Letitia James, abusing of the wholesale weaponization of the legal process. Quiet. I don't want to hear you yet. Abusing of the wholesale weaponization of the judicial process, the prosecutorial process. You will recall Judge Engoron. I'm not going to play the clip again. Judge Arthur Engoron, who gave a speech 8-9 years ago, talking about all the tools that he has. It's a very controversial thing. I'm going to say it, even though I'm on camera. Juries get it wrong a lot. And I've got my tools to bypass jury verdict. It's called judgment notwithstanding a verdict. So if the jury comes down with a verdict that I don't like, I've got tools. It's controversial to say. I've done it twice. One time I was overturned, one time I wasn't. So I'm batting 50-50. Not bad on a controversial method of bypassing the judicial process. And I say that with the full degree of insight, because in the Michael Flynn, his partner's case, who I can't remember his name, I won't remember it. I remember it's Armenian. The judge in that case used the judgment notwithstanding a verdict to overturn the jury finding of FARA violations. Anybody in the chat can remember what Flynn's business partner's name was? I want to be stubborn and I want to get it. Berkosian. What was his name? Michael Flynn's business partner, who got convicted of FARA violations, and then the judge overturned the jury verdict. A, B. It starts with a C. Have I asked a question that the aggregate wisdoms of the interwebs are unable to find? Let me go to locals and see if they've got it. His name was... That's not his name. Well, I'll get his name in a second when the chat gets it. So there are times when a judge does it, and I will say, oh, look at that. The verdict was so ridiculous that the judge had to exercise that power. It's case dependent. No basic rule to it. Janov, in a civil trial to find liability? I don't think so. No, sorry, I'll bring that up. Not saying it applies in this particular case. This was just the judge 8 years ago talking about all the tools he has at his disposal, to get around. His name was not Robert Paulson. So this is in this particular case out of New York, the judge, am I making the law or am I following the law? I don't know. It's hard for me to get past my own bias, and I have tools, and I'm almost quoting him verbatim. Rafikian, thank you very much. Bian Rafikian, excellent. That was Flynn's business partner, was convicted of FARA violations by a jury, as if they even knew what it was. The judge he did a judgment notwithstanding a verdict, said there's no way anybody comes to... I know it was a Fight Club joke. The judge said no reasonable, rational verdict. A jury comes to this finding based on this fact, overturned it. It was one of the first beefs I had with Legal, a substantive beef, where he said, in one of his videos, referred to the fact that Michael Flynn's business partner was found guilty by jury. Didn't mention the fact that the judge overturned that verdict. So substantive omission, deliberate or neglect, who knows, outcome is the same. Okay, back to New York, Letitia James. Engoron has used the tools at his disposal to come to a to come to a finding of fraud on the Mar-a-Lago assessment. No jury in this case. Summary motion comes to a summary judgment, fraud. Moving on. There was no summary judgment means there was no triable issue of fact that required any further adjudication. Summary motion, yeah, it's a matter of fact that he overvalued fraudulently the Mar-a-Lago property. Okay, fine. Tool number one that Judge Engoron has used to get to the outcome of his liking, of his bias, foregone conclusion liking. He gags Trump. There's no jury in Judge Engoron's New York Letitia James fraud case. There's no jury. Gags Trump, orders him not to, make disparaging remarks, attack members of his staff. Can't highlight the fact that Judge Engoron, it might have not included Engoron himself, can't highlight the fact that his top clerk is a partisan political hack who's chummy with Chuck Schumer, posting pictures all over the internet. Chuck Schumer, the guy who says, Trump had better be careful because the FBI's got 6 ways from Sunday of getting back at you if they don't like what you're doing. It's all irrelevant. It's nothing that the public would be interested in highlighting. So he says, here's your verdict. You're finding a fraud on summary judgment. And I'm also going to gag you. You can't point out the political bias of the members of my staff. Trump allegedly violates that order once. Bam, $5,000 fine. Judge allegedly violates that order a second time by truthing out on Truth Social the person sitting, the clearly biased person sitting next to the judge. Judge Engoron takes that to mean his top clerk. Methinks thou dost protesteth too much. When Trump says, I was only talking about Michael Cohen, who was on the stand sitting next to you, Judge, totally biased, discredited himself in testimony. The judge says, this is horrible. You violated my gag order a second time when making statements in the hallway. Come before me and tell me what you meant when you referred to the biased person sitting next to me. I think you meant my politically biased chief clerk. Trump says, no, I meant Michael Cohen. Judge says, I don't believe you, $10,000. It's like when Bart Simpson is mouthing off to Principal Skinner and he's like, 2 days detention. Oh, well, why stop there? 1 week detention. Oh, maybe I should just shut my big mouth. Well, Trump's not going to shut his mouth, Engoron. $10,000 fine, and the judge says, these are going to be increasing sanctions in severity. Okay, so he's been under a gag order. He can't talk about certain things. The judge says, it's not the end of the world. You can talk about some stuff. You just can't talk about the corruption of my potential bias of my staff. All the while, what is sweet Letitia James doing in all of this? She's taking to Twitter daily to post the most Orwellian, Kafkaesque, Vonnegutian idiocracy summaries, in her view, of what's going on in court during the day. Listen to this one. Which one? This one's yesterday, right? Again and again, Donald Trump inflated the value of his properties to increase his net worth. But here's the thing. When you engage in fraud, eventually you're going to face consequences. Not when you allegedly engage in fraud. When you engage in fraud. I know there's all sorts of immunity issues, but she's not making an allegation. She's accusing someone of a crime while they're prosecuting, while they're in court, on a civil matter, no less. Well, is it civil or is it not? Oh, it's not. It's commercial. Okay, scratch that, whatever I just said there. When you engage in fraud, not when you allegedly. And there's people going to be out there who are going to say, well, her job as Attorney General is to prosecute. No. The job of an Attorney General is not to prosecute and it's not to get conviction. It's to pursue justice. But in this case, justice is about as blind as Letitia James's politics. Listen to this.
Today we began the 5th week of our trial against Donald Trump,
Fifth
the
week.
Trump Organization, and other defendants. We heard testimony from 3 witnesses, including a former Trump Organization executive. That executive was involved in fraudulently inflating the value
Not
of Donald
allegedly.
Trump's assets
Involved
to
in.
increase his net worth. On Christmas Eve in 2020, he received a voicemail from defendant and former Trump Organization controller Jeffrey McConney. Mr. McConney asked him to come up with reasons to justify a higher value for their Nike Town property.
God forbid.
Because their accountant at Mazars needed more information. Just 3 days later, documents show that the witness did as he was told and changed the value of Nike Town.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is such a flagrant misrepresentation, even based on her own words from a few seconds ago. He didn't say go and misrepresent. Even what she just said. Said what did she say? We need find some more.
Needed more information.
Here, hold on a second.
For their Nike Town.
Come up with
property.
reasons to justify a higher value.
For their Nike Town property, because their accountant at Mazars needed more information. Just 3 days later, documents show that the witness did as he was told
and changed
the value of.
Oh,
Nike
I'm sorry.
Town
That's not even what you
based
said.
on
He
cash
said.
Flow analysis he created.
God. Oh boy. Okay, doesn't matter.
This former executive was also involved in conversations about the value of Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, it's worth $18 million.
Since 1995, Mar-a-Lago was legally registered as a social club rather than a private residence for tax and ownership purposes. This executive testified that he knew that it was a club and that Trump paid lower taxes on it as a club rather than as a private residence. He also testified that he knew the property was worth much less than it would have been if it were Donald Trump's private home.
Let's not even get into it. Could be a raised, empty lot and be worth hundreds of millions. Oh, and by the way, Dinesh D'Souza's premiere of Police State is at Mar-a-Lago tomorrow, and I'll be attending that. I'll tell you if it looks like an $18 million. Oh, sorry, $18 to $27 million property. Oh, and then by the way, Judge Engoron never said it was worth that. He just came to the conclusion of finding a fraud as a matter of fact because he went with the Broward County City Appraiser's estimate of the property. The county appraisal, not market value. 18 million to 20. Okay, put it on the market and have it be a public bidding. See what it goes for.
However, when it came time to prepare the statements of financial condition, the Trumps continued to value Mar-a-Lago as a private residence. In 2021, Mar-a-Lago was assessed at approximately $28 million.
By a county appraiser.
$612 million.
There's an empty lot that's selling for 100.
And again.
And again.
Donald Trump tried to double dip. But here's the thing with the law.
Oh, here's the thing with the law. Tell me.
You can't have it both ways.
Oh. This is the propaganda that Letitia James is putting out daily while Trump is gagged. She accuses him of crimes. No alleged, no qualification. While the trial is ongoing, I dare say misrepresents the testimony that's being adduced in court in real time while Trump is being gagged and fined at exponentially higher levels per alleged infraction while this trial goes on. Make it make sense. There's no way to make it make sense. And now the latest development in that, because the trial is a load of poo-poo. Danica Patrick, what are you doing here? Get out of here. This is Trump. 3 of his kids will testify in New York fraud trial in early November. From what I understand, Ivanka might be making a motion to quash. As far as my understanding goes, they can be subpoenaed and to testify, and I think they can make a motion to quash the subpoena. We'll see if this article talks about it. And either way, because I know the limits of my own knowledge, I'm going to discuss this with Barnes on Sunday and ask the questions that I'm still hitherto uncertain of. After more than 4 weeks of testimony in former Donald Trump's New York civil fraud trial. Good, so it was civil. Okay, good. He and 3 of his adult kids, what a bizarre way to say it. He and 3 of his adult kids will soon be called to court to testify. Letitia James said on Friday. Yeah, she's long indicated. Letitia, remember, she campaigned off going after Trump. Remember that. I mean, I posted some of the amazing highlights from prior interviews and speeches that she gave. 2018, campaigned off of persecuting an individual, Trump. James' team has long indicated Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Ivanka Trump would be questioned on the stand on Friday. An attorney for James said it will rest its case after they testify. James' office expects to call Donald Trump Jr. to the stand Wednesday, November 1. Eric Trump, November 2. Ivanka Trump, November 8. Why? It skips a date. Okay, but her testimony was pushed back. The court said yada, yada. Okay, fine. Assuming the revised schedule holds, Donald Trump will be called to testify under oath on Monday, November 6th. You think they're not going to try to go after some fabricated, fraudulent, horse crap perjury charges? Like what they did with Michael Flynn when he was testifying. Was it Flynn? No, I'm getting mixed up between all of the fabricated perjury, lying. That was lying to investigators. You think they're going to go after anything he says? Let me see here. A senior campaign advisor said it's unlikely Trump will travel to New York for his children's testimony since he is going to be in Texas for much of the week. The advisor said Trump is likely to go to New York for his own testimony, but hasn't finalized his plans yet. Trump and their account, they've already been found liable. It's amazing, eh? They've Alex Jones, Donald Trump. The Trumps and their company have already been found liable for fraud in the case, but the trial has proceeded on allegations related to falsification of business records, insurance fraud, and conspiracy. The state is seeking at least $250 million in what it calls ill-gotten gains. And harsh penalties that would severely restrict, as it is now, they've frozen his business licenses in New York, threatened to dispose of his assets. They're accused of misrepresenting the Trump values properties in order to obtain favorable loans and insurance. The poor itty bitty banks didn't get their increased rates of interest, but they got paid back in full and made like $40 million, I think was the last number I heard. And the insurance companies, insurance. I mean, we don't get to see the trial in real time. If you overvalue the value of your properties, your insurance goes up. As typically, if you're insuring, I don't know what type of insurance it is, but typically if you're insuring a property that you say is worth $400 million, the insurance won't be as cheap as it would be if it were only $18 million. But who knows what type of insurance, whatever. Okay, defendants have all denied the allegations. Yada yada yada. Trump has repeatedly stood just outside the courtroom doors, lashing out at James and the judge, accusing them of being unfair and biased against him. That's not an accusation. It is a matter of demonstrable fact. When you have campaign interviews, campaign speeches of Letitia James saying, I'm going to prosecute Donald Trump if elected, when you have a judge admitting that he's got the tools to carry to fruition his internal biases, it's not, what did the word they said? An accusation. It's a demonstrable, verifiable fact, period. That anger has occasionally earned the ire of Justice Arthur Engron, who has twice fined Trump for violating a limited gag order. Do you see the framing here? It's earned the ire, so it was justified. The limited gag order, I guess it's limited. If he can say anything, if he's allowed to say anything, I'm hungry, it's a limited gag order. Wednesday, Engron even put Trump on the stand to question him about his comment that Engron ultimately concluded was about the clerk. Ivanka was initially named in the lawsuit when it was filed in 2022, but this summer she successfully moved the appellate court to dismiss the allegations against her. The court found the allegations related to her involvement in loans of the Trump Organization were outside the statute of limitations. Still, Letitia James, pursuer of justice, subpoenaed her to appear in the case. Ivana contested the subpoena, but Engron ruled against her on Friday. Oh, didn't hear that. Quelle surprise, as we say en français, tabarnouche. Oh, it's outrageous. Okay, we've done enough on the Rumbles. Let me go get the link. The judge who's got all the tools in his world, he refused to quash the subpoena. Quash means not to squash, but it's basically to cancel the subpoena that Ivanka challenged. What a surprise. I'm surprised he didn't find her guilty by summary judgment as well. All right, everybody, mosey your tuchuses over on to the Rumbles. We're at 557 on YouTube. Let's see that number go down radically before we go out there. And on the Rumbles, well, first I'm going to go check to see if this trial is being broadcast live today, if the audio levels are better. And then we're going to talk about the big one, that trial. And then the other one, what was the other one? Oh, the Re-Gagged, Trump Re-Gagged. Okay, I wanted to refresh, and I just want to see the number go from 556 down. What do joy... can I read this? Oh. Okay, I'm not reading that. 540. All right, good. We're done. I just noticed that there's some trends in terms of who the Soros, the Soros entity seeks to finance and get elected. There seem to be some similarities. Okay, we are going to end on YouTube in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on over to Rumble. The link is in the pinned comment if everybody's watching this afterwards. Done. All righty then. Let's see what's going on here. Chet Chisholm is in the house. Before we get started, I'm going to read a Rumble rant. I didn't give the disclaimers this morning. A little tired. Okay, what do we got? Chet Chisholm. Here's some more fun from the Maritimes. The Nova Scotia government are having a contest for healthcare workers to submit solutions to the failing system for a chance to win $100. Some more fun from the Maritimes. The Nova Scotia government are having a contest for healthcare workers to submit solutions
Who just
to
said
the
that?
failing system for a chance to win $100.
Who's talking right now?
Some more fun from the Maritimes.
This is
the
very-
Nova Scotia government are having
Oh my gosh, we're in Inception,
for healthcare
people.
workers to submit solutions
When am I going
to
to start
the
that?
failing system
Who
for
said
a chance
that? Okay, I'm stopping. Sorry, that joke is over. Oh yeah, I wonder what happened, eh? It's amazing, eh? They don't have firefighters, eh, to go fight fires. Maybe it had something to do with, like, forced termination of employment for refusing the job. Oh, the healthcare system is failing. It was failing before COVID, eh? But maybe firing healthcare workers who refused to get the job wasn't the best thing to do, eh? All right, God, we've done that. We've destroyed the country, and we're all out of ideas. All right, good. I need an add-on dork reader, says Katamine. Viva the neocon. Oh, yeah, there you go. Sambo 420's known me my whole life. Trying to gag Trump is like trying to escape the Event Horizon 360 Attic 70. You know what the funniest thing in the world was? Literally, this morning? Was it this morning or yesterday? I was trying to explain black holes to my kid because we just watched Interstellar. And I read the book, was it Isaac Asimov, Black Holes and the Universe? I was just explaining the idea of the event horizon, the idea that a black hole, in order to have infinite mass, to be so gravitationally strong that light does not escape, has to have an infinite depth and basically be bottomless. But then how can something be bottomless? It's an absolute conundrum of a query of a quagmire. Okay. Let me see what I got in the backdrop here in terms of the next ones. I got a lot of highlights from the trial yesterday. Let's do the Judge Chutkan reimposing the limited gag order. The catchphrases are everywhere. First of all, I don't know how Trump puts up with it. I don't know how he does it. No one knows what they would do until they're put into those situations. I just when I interviewed Roger Stone, and just the idea that, like, I don't know, I don't think they would rather be playing golf, but the idea that, like, the better part of their golden years are spent fighting a corrupt system. I mean, maybe that's not a level of achievement. Maybe that is the purpose, and they take pride in that purpose of their lives instead of being able to waste away playing golf, getting frustrated at a stupid game that nobody should care about unless you're a pro. They are forced to be victims of a system, and that's where they'll derive the meaning of their life. I mean, not at this point. I see determination in those eyes, but maybe I'm just projecting. Federal judge reimposes a limited gag order in Trump's 2020 election. Okay, Judge Chutkan. Robert Barnes has expressed his opinion of Judge Chutkan. This is a judge who is judicially corrupt, biased beyond words. What is she already adjudicated on the recusal as well. Like there was a motion to recuse. She says, no, I'm good. I'm not biased. I'm staying. Even though other judges sat in the courtroom while Trump came in. Oh, unheard of. Anyhow, she imposed, because, being the next domino in the dominoes of stupid decisions, stupid prosecutions. Well, that's the basis now for new stupid ones in other states. Ours isn't so bad. I mean, they did it in New York. All right, well, we went from the New York hush money payment thing to D.C., to Florida, to Georgia indictments. They set the bar. They broke the emergency glass, to quote Robert Gouveia, with that bullcrap hush money indictment out of New York. Well, they've broken the emergency glass on gag orders. Now they're just going to be par for the course. Forget your First Amendment rights. You thought you get to be accused and then defend yourself in the court of public opinion? Alex Jones can tell you a little something about that. Who was it? It was Steve Bannon, I believe. And Brian Colfage from Build the Wall. We Build the Wall. Basically, we're gagged. I have to refresh my memory on the details. I'm pretty sure they were gagged as well, or at least attempted to be gagged. We're going to persecute you, prosecute you, and you cannot wage a war in the court of public opinion. Sounds fair. Sounds very Stalin-esque. Get that out of here. I don't want to educate my inbox. Don't tell me what to do. Ad. Federal judge. So the judge who issued her gag order, Trump appealed and she says, I'm going to administratively stay my gag order till I hear what your arguments for the appeal are going to be. I've heard your arguments for the appeal.
I've heard your arguments for the appeal, and now I'm saying, yeah, I agree with myself. The judge reimposes a limited gag order in Trump's 2020 election interference case. Federal judge overseeing Donald Trump's case in the 2020 election interference case. Remember this? He hasn't even been found guilty of election interference, but they want to take him off the ballot for insurrection, for which he was already acquitted in impeachment. And people don't seem to appreciate that that's a quasi-criminal proceeding. Doesn't matter. She's reimposed it's a narrow gag order. Oh yes, it's just very narrow. It's so narrow, it applies to potential witnesses. Barring him from making public comments targeting prosecutors, court staff, and potential witnesses. The words narrow and potential are mutually incompatible. It's a very narrow gag order. It just prevents you from intimidating, targeting undisclosed number of people. I mean, this is Orwellian newspeak. It's a very narrow gag order. It just applies to all potential witnesses. You want me to tell you who they are? How the hell am I supposed to know? U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan is presiding over the federal case charging Trump with plotting to overturn his 2020 election loss. She had temporarily lifted the gag order as she considered the Republican former president's request to keep it on hold while he challenges the restrictions to higher courts. But Chutkan on Sunday, can you listen to this? She agreed with herself. She agreed to reinstate the gag order after prosecutors cited Trump's recent social media comments about his former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, and they said represented an attempt to influence or intimidate a likely key witness. The statement would almost certainly violate the court order under any reasonable definition of targeting. Do tell us what targeting then means. A reasonable definition of targeting potential witnesses. It's very, what did they say here? The word was, it's very narrow. The order is a fresh reminder that Trump's penchant for incendiary, is this poetry or is this news? The order is a fresh reminder that Trump's penchant for incendiary and bitter rants. Oh, he can no longer engage in bitter rants. Sorry. About the legal troubles he's facing, though politically beneficial. Oh, well, thank you for saying the quiet part out loud. In rallying his supporters as he speaks to reclaim the White House, carry practical consequences in the court. Thank you for explaining how this is election interference in real time. You don't understand what you just said, much like that Time article magazine doesn't understand that they described election interference. This is the description and the definition of judicial election interference. Yeah, though it's politically beneficial, it would rally his supporters, it'll carry consequences in the court, so you can't do it anymore. So the court has prevented free speech that would be politically beneficial in the context of perhaps the most monumental, important elections in American history. Totally cool, dude. 2 judges have now imposed gag orders. That's it. Stupidity leaves marks. 2 judges have now imposed orders mandating that he rein in his speech, with the jurist presiding over a civil fraud issuing a mandatory fine. With the jurist? That's one way to describe it. Judge Engeron. A request for comment was sent to the Trump attorney, Todd Blanche. Trump, in a social media post late Sunday, acknowledged that the gag order was back in place, calling it not constitutional. Ooh. Is that targeting potential witnesses? Is that a, hold on, if we go back up here, is that targeting prosecutors? I mean, look, if he's saying it's not constitutional, he's accusing the prosecutor and the judge of engaging in unconstitutional conduct. He's targeting the judge. I love Big Brother. Say it, Winston. 2 + 2 is 5. There are 4 lights. Say it. Oh, you said it, but we don't think you meant it. Trump's lawyers have said they will seek an emergency stay of the U.S. order. Defense is entitled to criticize prosecutors and speak truth to oppression. Though Chutkan reinstated the gag order, she denied a request from special counsel's team to make compliance with that order a condition for Trump's release. Oh, she's so not objective. She's so not biased and so objective that she allowed Trump to be free pending his trial. Even assuming that request is procedurally proper, the court concludes that granting it is not necessary to effectively enforce the gag order at this time. It might be later on. Chutkan wrote she did not elaborate on how the order might be enforced. Trump has denied any wrongdoing in the case, made central. All right, whatever. Prosecutors have said Trump's verbal attacks threatened to undermine the integrity of the case and risk inspiring his supporters to violence. I mean, this was. I'm not going through the pleadings the way Govea does, but this was the argument raised by the prosecution. The risk of his words might be interpreted by someone to maybe potentially mean something to cause them to potentially do something violent. So Trump, while being persecuted, prosecuted, fined, has to have his speech suppressed during the election cycle. And of course, he's going to start his trial on the Monday before the Super Tuesday. Let's see here. Smith's team said Trump took advantage of the recent lifting of the gag to send an unmistakable and threatening message to Meadows, who was reported by ABC News to have received immunity. And he was also reported to have worn a wire, which we now know was a rumor. Don't repeat it for anybody who may have already done that. Trump mused on social media about the possibility that Meadows would give testimony to Smith in exchange for immunity. One part of the post said, some people would make that deal, but they are weaklings and cowards, and so bad for the future of our failing nation. I don't think that Mark Meadows is one of them, but who really knows? That is the most threatening thing I've ever heard in my life. Okay, I'm literally shaking right now. And how dare he? He should be locked up immediately. This is a threat to democracy. The First Amendment, the way he viciously targeted a potential witness to say that I don't think he's one of the ones, but who really knows? That was intimidation. Oh my God, I'm sure Meadows also is equally quaking in his seal fur rubber baby boots. That's from Megamind, if anybody doesn't get the reference. Chutkan wrote that the post almost certainly would have violated her court order because it singles out a witness, characterizes potentially unfavorable testimony as a lie. But Leticia James can get up there and say fraud, and suggests only a weakling or coward would make those statements to prosecutors. Oh, where's the threat? Where's the intimidation? The judge said such a, quote, attack could, quote, readily be interpreted as an attempt to influence or prevent the witness's participation in the case. Holy shit, they're crazy. They're crazy. She drew a contrast between some of his posts earlier that she says were compliant with the gag order, yada, yada, yada. And in a separate case, he was fined by the New York judge. Okay, so that's Judge Chutkan out of D.C. Totally nothing abnormal about anything that's going on. If you think there is, that's on you. You're crazy. Oh, let's see here. Okay, we got that. I'm reading some of the chat. There's an expression that a zealot is someone who never changes their mind and never changes the conversation. Let that sink in for some people. You post something and then I'm going to be so funny and just put a random response that has nothing to do with that particular subject because I'm obsessed with something else and want to continually distract from any meaningful online discourse with zealotry. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so that's it. Okay, I don't okay, that's it. All right, so that's I think that's it for DC. Let me see something if there wasn't anything more for the DC. Oh, we got a funny one that we're going to do afterwards at locals, I think. Okay, so I got now I think I'm looking at only highlights from the Colorado case. Yep. Okay, good. Colorado judge won't recuse himself. Okay, good. Before we get into the next one, we got to cleanse our palates with a little proverbial sorbet. Do you guys all know that? Like, I want to say this, but then I don't want to get fact checked. Sorbet palate cleanser. Let me see here. Sorbet is the most frequent palate cleanser and one of the most adapted worldwide. Okay, so yes, sorbet is used to cleanse one's palate. So we're going to cleanse our palate from the Chutkan DC corruption to the Colorado corruption with a video that is hilarious, and I actually made a comment that ended up being very funny. Everyone will be able to relate to this because I don't think even Democrats like Hillary Clinton. So for all the Dems in the crowd right now.
Then you want somebody who's going to get up every day.
Hey Hillary, why'd your husband visit Epstein Island 26 times?
Okay, so that might have been too loud. What are they? What are they chanting? Are they chanting cheater? I love this. This is passive-aggressive resistance. What are they say? Are they chanting Sheila? And yeah, just watch how this guy, passive, what is it called? Passive resistance? Non-violent resistance. They drag him out. He's, you know, they would have had an easier time dragging me out. I love it like a baby. Drag him.
Is this really necessary? Is this really necessary, guys? Is this really necessary?
Thumbs up. I love it.
Really necessary?
Okay, so
Support like just endless government spending. I mean, she's giving more money to white people in Ukraine than you freaking idiots in Houston keep voting for her. Watch out. Endless money to Ukraine. Endless money for Israel. She's not anti-establishment. You guys vote for the same shit over and over again.
I love.
Same crime. It's gonna be like just like Chicago. You guys love this shit. All right, you have a blessed day, sir.
You have a blessed day, sir. So I made the joke. I tweeted this out. I said, this guy's got to hook up with Alex Stein. And then Alex Stein, Primetime 99, Pimp on a Blimp, replied and said, dude, I know that guy. We've done stuff together before. That wasn't his first rodeo, and you could tell, but that was funny. So now that we've cleansed... Mel Bell 4 says, thank you for this. Yes, we have to cleanse our palates of the endless institutionalized judicial corruption. I mean, I'm calling it, this is institutionalized election interference. There is no other way to go about it. Serenity, prayer. God, give me the strength to change the things I can. The courage, the wisdom. I'm gonna remember it one of these days. Lord, give me the strength to change the things I can, accept the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's close enough, peeps? God. No, we're doing it now. The serenity prayer. You know what I'm gonna have to, like, if I ever get a tattoo, maybe it's gonna be, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Yep. You know what? I'm not saying I'm going to get a tattoo, but if I ever did, that would be it. Okay, I've got a dog here who's wiggling herself off the... Viva being... That's not nice. Okay, not that I have any problem with that, but okay, let's move on. Colorado. This one is mind-blowing. Oh, shoot. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Just make sure I didn't break my phone. Print it out. I like that quote. Print it out. Well, hold on. It's the Serenity Prayer. My mother had it on a mug growing up, and I remember going into the bathroom because we shared a bathroom, and I would remember seeing that little mug, and it was the weirdest thing. It was a mug, and it had like a ceramic lid on it, I guess to keep stuff hot. Like bizarre, but it was on a mug that my mother had growing up. Okay, now that we found serenity, my ass. Okay, Colorado. For those of you who don't know, I should just pull up a summary of this. I forget who. In Colorado, a suit has been filed by 4 allegedly Republican voters to it's like an activist group to keep Trump off the ballot because Article 14, Paragraph 3, insurrection. Let's get that one out. Article 14, Section 3. Here, we'll read it. They want to keep Trump off, and the way they describe it is because you have to describe your lawless actions lawfully. They want to protect the rights of voters. They want to make sure that every vote counts and that every voter's vote is respected. And in order to do that, they've got to keep ineligible names off the ballot so that people don't waste their vote voting for an ineligible candidate, thus their vote not counting. So they're doing this, you idiots. If you thought they were doing this to interfere with elections out of corruption, maliciousness, you're wrong. Just say that you love Big Brother and you understand what they're doing. They're doing it to protect your vote because they don't want you wasting your vote on an ineligible candidate. Article 14, Section 3, no person shall be a senator or a representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or any other statute, who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress, oh gosh, I've got to get to the whole thing, or as a member of any state legislature, yada, 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 to support the Congress, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same. Shall have engaged in insurrection. Don't forget those words. Or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. Okay. Let me just make sure I get the word again. Shall have engaged in insurrection. They're saying Trump engaged in insurrection. There's been no court finding. There's been no impeachment, no culpability, no criminal finding yet. I mean, maybe they should have waited or, pushed up that DC case a little bit. They're saying, as a matter of fact, he's done it and he should be removed from the ballot. That's what's going on in Colorado. You've got a judge who might just be a little bit, there might be reasons to question the judge's objectivity. Why? Let's get into an article about it, shall we? Close. Oh, no. Oh, don't you do that. Go back. Okay. Close. What the flip is going on? No thanks. Okay, I'm not. Okay, there we go.
Are you skeptical of headlines and what you see on
God,
social
this is
media?
annoying.
We are too.
Stop. Okay. There was a motion to recuse. This will outline the potential bias of the judge, just if you're nervous. Judge overseeing Trump disqualification case in Colorado rejects recusal request over political contribution. Donald Trump's attorney took issue with the donation the judge made before taking the bench to a group that likened the January 6th attack to an insurrection. I mean, it's a small amount. It's $100 that she made while she presumably knew that she was going to be named judge at some point, because it was like a few days before her actual appointment, but they don't just pull these things out of a hat. So she knew she was going to become a judge. She made a measly $100 donation, and we're going to see what that entity had to say. On the first morning of a week-long hearing to determine if Donald Trump is constitutionally eligible. Can you imagine? A state judge is deciding whether or not forget that he's a former president, a candidate is constitutionally eligible to be president after that person had already been acquitted of impeachment on the very same basis. Imagine that. It's an amazing thing. Forget impeachment. It means nothing now. You can get your rogue activists out of the state level, rogue judges at a state level to dictate federal politics, to basically override the Constitution. To appear on Colorado's 2024 presidential primary ballot. Oh, this is the presidential primary ballot. The judge overseeing the case rejected Trump's request to recuse himself over a $100 donation. Okay, prior to taking the bench. Yeah, she made the donation prior to taking bench, but not prior to knowing that she was going to be taking the bench. Okay, the Trump reluctantly filed a motion Saturday seeking to disqualify the judge. Gessler indicated he only learned on October that prior to her appointment as judge, Wallace made a $100 donation to the Colorado Turnout Project. I want to open that up in the backdrop. Okay, we'll get there in a second because we need to. Oh, this is annoying, yeah? Its website proudly proclaims that the group was formed shortly after Colorado Republicans refused to condemn the political extremists who stormed the United States Capitol on January 6, Gessler wrote. A contribution to the Colorado Turnout Project shows support for the view that January 6, 2021 constituted, unquote, insurrection. One of the key issues in the case is whether Trump is disqualified from seeking the presidency under the 14th Amendment, which bars federal and state officials from holding office if they engaged in insurrection against the United States. That's all we got there? Okay, whatever. But let's just go to that website, shall we? Yeah, boom, shakalaka. Look at this. Yeah, there you go. Colorado Blue. Look at this. The Colorado Turnout Project. Our story, fighting for what we believe in together. The Colorado Turnout Project is a coalition of Colorado students, activists, veterans, and Coloradans. I would have said Coloradians. Coloradites? Coloradogonians, whatever. From all walks of life who are fed up with the complicity of Colorado's Republican representatives in our nation's venomous political atmosphere. We formed shortly after Republicans refused to condemn the political extremists, call them MAGA extremists, why don't you just pull a Hakeem Jeffries, who stormed the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. In fact, Republican Representative Lauren Boebert, CO3, Colorado 3, even encouraged the violence. The Colorado Turnout Project aims to prevent violent insurrectionists by addressing this problem at its source. If we vote out pariahs like Boebert, we can turn Colorado blue once and for all. I'm sorry, didn't they say that this was Republicans? Okay, maybe we formed shortly after Colorado Republic. Oh, fine. So no, this is Democrats. Okay. That's the Colorado Project, the Turnout Project. And in order to make sure people turn out, in order to protect the turnout, they've got to eliminate from the ballot. That's like war is peace, ignorance is strength, freedom is slavery. In order to protect the turnout, we've got to exclude people from the ballot. Done. All right, so that's the judge. She said, yeah, I'm not biased, and carry on with the trial, because the trial is going to be amazing. I'm just going to pull out a few. The opening statements of the plaintiff's attorney. It's like listening to the Coles notes of the January 6th committee. Beyond that, it is insane beyond words. I'm going to I'll play one highlight. Is this it? Is this it? Yes, this is it. They've referenced, this is, just imagine, just take the January 6th committee, those kangaroo court hearings. They're highly produced, edited videos. There's carefully selected tweets. They're carefully selected excluded tweets. The lead attorney in opening statements literally said that when Trump said peacefully, that was literally the call to violence, because that was the dog whistle. Because he only said peacefully once. I think he said it more, but who cares? He only said peacefully once, but he said fight multiple times. So that peacefully was actually a dog whistle, plausible deniability. When he said it, that was an indication of his violent tendencies, because if he had no violent intention, he would never have had to say peacefully in the first place. And if you think I'm joking, I'm not. And listen to this. Where are we? Hold on. Did I lose my screen? No, I didn't. I'm right there. Okay, let's move the screen back out. If you think I'm joking, you get ready for. I'll say aloud if you can't hear what he's saying, because the audio was crap.
So let's walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I want to thank you all. God bless you.
This is their. God bless. Sorry, I should have prefaced this also. In their opening statements, they're looping in videos of police. Fighting with protesters. They're looping in video evidence, Trump's speech. And so they played this video as a longer portion of his speech, and then on with opening statements.
America.
Two important features of that speech we just saw.
Two important features.
First is his focus of the crowd on the actions of Mike Pence that were shortly to happen in the Senate chamber. And second, his repeated reference to fight.
Wait until we'll bring up what they did with Eric Swalwell, but here.
And urging his supporters to fight. Now, I'm sure that Trump will claim that because he used the words, quote, peacefully and patriotically later in that speech, that he did not therefore engage in insurrection.
Yeah, that's a pretty good argument, you delusional nincompoop.
That claim is wrong at every level.
Every level, not just wrong.
He used fight 20 times in that speech, peaceful only once. Professor Simi explains how leaders use language like that, like the peacefully comment.
They've got an expert who's going to testify. It would be funny if it weren't so bloody tragic. Hold on a second. I should highlight here. When I said bloody tragic, I meant politically. I meant metaphorically. Don't want to, maybe I have to say that. I just make sure I don't want anyone Viva incited insurrection.
And to create plausible deniability that is just filter. To create plausible deniability that is just filter. Fight 20 times in that speech, peaceful only once. Professor Simi explains how leaders use language like that, like the peacefully comment, to create plausible deniability that is just filter.
That's just filter.
Trump well knew how his reporters would respond. He saw what happened when he told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by.
What happened? Absolutely nothing.
How they treated that as an endorsement.
How they treated that as an endorsement. And when that neo-Nazi, I think his name is David Duke, comes out and says, I endorse Hillary Clinton, well, then they say it doesn't mean anything. It's not double standards. It's not hierarchy. It's lawlessness.
In fact, his use of peaceful in the rally, and again, use in this proceeding, highlights that he knew the power of his other words. If you don't think people are going to engage in violence after what you told them, or that your words will provoke violence, you don't need to say be peaceful. They already will be.
This guy actually, this is his opening statement. When he said to do it peacefully and patriotically, that was the dog whistle for violence. Because if you don't think people are going to get violent, you don't need to say peacefully. And if you don't say peacefully, you damn well didn't mean peacefully. I mean, this is insanity. It's insanity.
But that speech that we just saw got the crowd worked up and headed to the Capitol.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to give everybody that video. You cannot believe that this is reality. Oh, my wow stupidity, says Ginger Dog 55. So that's the tenor. That's the tenor of the quality of the arguments. So they have what's his face? I'm going to forget his name. They have one of the Capitol Police officers who was involved in a violent kerfuffle. No question about that. The same one who testified during the January 6th committees. And he's coming up there and saying, look at this. I got into fights with protesters. I got hit in the head. I got a bloody lip. I got a concussion, even though under cross, I think he testifies that he didn't actually go get any formal diagnosis for his concussion. I hurt my hand. So Trump's an insurrectionist. Okay. During the opening statements, so this is hilarious. This is the judge, by the way, who refused to recuse herself in the opening statement of Trump's attorney. For whatever the reason, they seem to be near either a police station, a fire station, or a hospital. There's sirens that are going off in the background that are, for whatever the reason, they're more audible than Swalwell's testimony. This is what she happened to say during a moment where Trump's attorney, in opening, had to take a pause because of the noise. You tell me if you hear what I think I heard. Here. By the way, Trump's attorney is far superior in terms of logic, delivery, but it's also probably because he's defending the defensible position in all this. But listen to what happened during his opening statement, and you tell me if you heard what I think I heard.
And on January 6th, he called for peace, and he used the word peace at least 4 times in his speech at the Ellipse and 2 tweets and a video message. So he asked for peace.
I want to highlight something afterwards.
Now, the petitioners have played a couple videos.
Cards are stacked against you, I guess.
I've been here before, Your Honor.
I promise it's going to be an equal opportunity problem.
I'm assuming your clerks are not taking time against me when the sirens go by. Stop that timer, please.
He actually sounded quite serious there. What did the judge say?
The petitioner
he stops because the sirens are noisy. Looks a little frustrated. Sighs. I'm going to wait.
Cards are stacked against you, I guess. Cards are stacked against you, I guess.
She does say the cards are stacked against you, I guess. I know it's a joke. I know it's in response to him having to pause because of the noise, and it's not a broader statement about the case overall. What a bizarre thing to say. Such an objective, unbiased judge that she refuses to recuse herself after having donated to an entity that exists for the purposes of ensuring that an insurrection doesn't happen again, after having refused her own recusal, still has it in the back of her mind to say, when he gets interrupted in his opening, well, the cards are stacked against you, I guess. Ha ha ha. Truth in jest, madam. There's an old expression. When I was in high school, by the way, we started a band and we called it Truth in Jest, but it was ingest, I-N-G-E-S-T, like you ingest truth. But the expression is truth in jest. Like you make jokes. The only thing that makes the jokes funny is the element of truth to it. If it's an absurd joke, it doesn't. If it's an absurd comment detached from reality, there will be no humor to it. I guess the cards are stacked against you, I guess. Yeah, well, thanks for saying the quiet part out loud, but let's bring it back here to another important part that people need to understand.
And on January 6th, he called for peace. And he used the word peace at least 4 times.
Well, hold on a second. You said 4 times, sir. The other lawyer said only once. Care to explain?
In his speech at the Ellipse and
In his speech at the Ellipse.
2 tweets and a video.
2 tweets and a video. When did they shut down? When did they take Trump off social media? Could it be that they actually, when they took Trump off social media, took down the videos where he called for people to go home, be peaceful, etc., were the side of law and order? So this lawyer knows damn well that Trump used the word peace, peacefully, iterations of it, I think at least 4 times. The other lawyer, thanking social media for having deplatformed Trump, bank on the fact that most people don't know that he used peace multiple times. He called for the protesters to go home. He called for them to be law-abiding. We're on the side of the blue, back the blue, law and order, etc. But they took him off the platforms. They deplatformed Trump, sitting president of the United States of America, for inciting violence, when in reality the videos that they prevented the world from seeing were ones calling for going home, being peaceful.
Message. So he asked for peace. Now,
okay, and we can stop there. It's an amazing thing. They deplatform for inciting violence when in reality they took down the evidence that he called for de-escalation and peace. Call me a partisan hack for observing the obvious. Meh. Jack Dorsey is complicit in all of this. Yeah, Jack Dorsey, that's Catamine. Jack Dorsey was CEO at the time. Facebook, Zuckerberg, remember? Zuckerberg, the one they silenced, they suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story. Twitter and Facebook. Twitter and Facebook yeet Trump from the platform so that nobody could actually see the video messages and tweets that he put out. Hold on, we're going to do this. We're going to do this in real time. Trump. Let me go here. Why can't I want to find... Hold on. Real Donald Trump. I want to get his account. So we have to see what the account looked like at the time. Here, check this out. Real Donald Trump. His only post since coming back, his mugshot. January 8th, to all those who have asked, I will not be going to the inauguration. That wasn't the... January 8th, the 75 million Americans who voted will have a giant voice along in the future. They will not be disrespected. January 6th, I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women. You know what? I've never liked this one. Let's go ahead and do that. Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. January 6th. Oh, but the time, it was already after the damage had been done. They took him off so that nobody could see that. The same people that took him off so that nobody could see that suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story, which in and of itself, on its own, as a standalone act, not only interfered with the outcome of the election, but affected the outcome of the election. Maybe that's the same way of saying the same thing. They know exactly what they did. All right, so that's the judge. Now, what were we saying here? So that was a very interesting remark that she made in opening statements in response to that the lawyer's opening statement. I'm not good with names, so I can't remember it. Then we had Swalwell testifying, and I made a funny. Well, hold on. What was this one before? This one is not related to Swalwell's testimony, I don't think. Hold on. What do we got here? Okay, so this is another one. If I brought it up for a reason, if I brought it up, there is a reason. Minimize, and let's press play on this. What did I want with this one?
Let's pause the video at 14:03:20.
Yeah.
Officer Hodges, did you hear what the man said in the video?
Oh, this is the officer. Okay.
I did.
What did he say?
I did.
He wanted to get me out of there.
He wanted to get him out of there.
Asked me what he could do to help.
Asked what he could do to help.
Told him to leave.
Told him to leave.
He said that ain't gonna happen.
He said that ain't going to happen.
And he said it's going to turn bad.
It's going to turn bad.
And that the others were coming up from the back.
And what did you understand those words to mean?
Oh, yeah, that's why I brought this up. The rules of evidence. Look, again, it's not my jurisdiction. Typically, when someone says, what did you understand the words of someone else to mean? Objection. His understanding is irrelevant. Speculative. Lacks foundation.
Overruled.
Overruled.
Testify as to
he can testify on what somebody said to him on what he thought it meant. I bet the cards are stacked against you, eh?
Doesn't mean that's what they meant.
Doesn't mean that's what they meant.
Thought they meant.
That's what he thought they meant. That's why hearsay is typically not allowed.
Objection overruled.
Objection overruled. Okay. By the way, he said, the guy tried to help him. One of these violent insurrectionists tried to help him. And he said, what can I do to help you? And the police officer said, go home. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. What can I do to help you? Forget your constitutional right to protest. Oh, okay. Thanks.
I understood the words he told me were very concerning.
Very concerning, the
he
words.
He said that it was going to turn bad, which means that he didn't think it was bad yet, and it was going to get worse. He said that the others were coming up from the back. This indicated to me that there was pre-planning, coordination.
Oh my goodness, he said the others are... This indicated to me that there was pre-planning coordination. Because they got to get to insurrection. And Trump participating in the insurrection. What is it? Engaging in the insurrection.
And that they were intentionally encircling the United States Capitol.
And that they were intentionally encircling the United States Capitol.
And when the man asked what he could do to help, you said leave. Is that right?
That's correct.
Why did you say that?
Because aside from convincing other people to leave as well, that is the only thing he could do to help.
Oh, that's the only thing he could do to help.
There was the biggest problem to us that he was a part of the mob, and the mob was the threat.
Biggest problem is he was part of the mob, and the mob, and the mob, and the mob, and the mob. Do you know how many times they said the word mob? There was actually an objection on the characterization of the crowd as a mob, and the judge said, no, keep calling them a mob. Just call them insurrectionists. Just get to the punchline already. The insurrectionists. Objection, you're calling them the insurrectionists, which presupposes the conclusion. Overruled. That didn't happen, but we're not far from it. Can you tell me what you thought he meant when he said it's going to get bad? Well, to me, it meant coordination. It meant seditious conspiracy and insurrection that Trump was instigating, inciting through his tweets and some other back channels, and therefore Trump should be removed from the ballot. That's where we're going with that. So that police officer, Capitol police officer, said nothing new, nothing that we haven't already seen. And then we had Swalwell. Swalwell was virtually inaudible.
So a security officer went to that lower podium and told the members that there were people unauthorized inside the building, and that Capitol Police was dispersing tear gas.
I don't know if you can hear this.
We were to reach under our seats and pull out a gas mask.
Pull out a gas mask.
And be ready to put it on.
Be ready to put it on.
In case they had to disperse.
In case they had to use tear gas.
And also be ready to move through an evacuation room.
Had you ever had to put a gas mask on in the Capitol House chamber before?
That actually happened. It didn't happen. I added the fart at the end because I couldn't. Hold on, let's just do that one. Oh yeah. Have you ever
had to put a gas mask on in the Capitol House chamber before?
Pretty damn funny. So that's the most ridiculous question that you can. Have you ever had to put on a gas mask in the Capitol chambers before? Only when I farted, ma'am. No. So Swalwell's testimony was to the effect that in chief, it was scary. They had to put on gas masks. Never been done before. They were scared, terrified, yada yada. And then I think the most important points were scored in cross-examination when they brought up a number of tweets from Swalwell. Let me just see if I can get one offhand. Swalwell, and if I put in the word fight, it's so amazing. I have to put in Eric Swalwell or Rep Swalwell. They were going after Rep Swalwell. I won't be able to find any offhand, but for anybody who knows how to use the search function better on Twitter, they said, okay, so Trump said fight. He said it 20 times. Does that mean insurrection? Well, I mean, it depends on the... Oh, Mr. Swalwell, is this you here saying that we have to fight, our lives depend on it in respect of women's rights? Yes. Is this a tweet from you where you're saying we got to fight for whatever? And he's like, oh yeah, well that one was a hashtag vote blue. But yeah. So you said the word fight. If I show you another 15 tweets, I don't remember how many they had from Swalwell, in which he said, we have to fight. And in some cases, he said, we have to fight like our lives depend on it. You don't mean insurrection. No, you don't mean violence. No, well, I mean, I have to assess the overall context when other people say it. So they got him on that. I mean, the amount of tweets using the word fight because it's a political term. And, you know, unless there's some strong indication that it's meaning we've got to go into the Capitol building, like Ray Epps said, and fight our way to the Capitol and fight our way to the podium. It's an expression that every politician out there has used, some actually more than others. Get in their faces and harass them, I think was what Maxine Waters said. Take the fight to the streets, I think is what AOC said, which I think is actually much more literal. So they got him on that. Then they get Swalwell on the fact that he wasn't injured during the January 6th insurrection. He wasn't injured. And yet he's suing Donald Trump for personal injury. Swalwell suing Trump for injury. Let me see here. Yeah, he sues Capitol over riot in the second major election lawsuit. What does it say here? He has a civil suit against Trump. And the cross-examination was to the effect of, well, if Trump gets removed from the ballot here for insurrection, that would help you in your case against Trump, wouldn't it? Oh, yeah. You weren't injured on January 6th, were you? Oh, no. So you've got basically a vested interest in ensuring a certain outcome here that might affect your objectivity if anybody had any lingering doubts about the lack of political bias of this individual, Eric Swalwell. Yeah, and that's where it ended. What else happened yesterday that was noteworthy? I think that's about it. It's an absolute gong show of a trial, an absolute joke in the sickest, saddest way, and it's going to carry on, and it's almost like a foregone conclusion, where you have a judge who's, I mean, who knows? Maybe things can, be righted. Who knows? Maybe the judge will come to the right conclusion that this is an absolute joke. But if that were the case, then it ought to have, been summarily dismissed, if ever there's a reason for a summary dismissal anywhere. Rumble rants. Finboy Slick says, I don't mask the gas, Your Honor. I release the gas. Swalwell. Finboy Slick says, speaking of big tech power on elections, if you haven't spoken to Dr. Robert Epstein yet, he would be a very important guest. Yeah, I can screen grab that. I'll reach out to him. Oh, now the question is this. I'm going to go to the chat and see what's going on there. Is the trial on now? Holy cows, did I have to go back to the bottom? Oh, it started an hour or so ago. Do we want to turn it on and just see what's going on? We could start from the beginning and then see if it's interesting. Hold on, YouTube. Well, hold on. Actually, let's just go to Rumble and see if anybody's live streaming it. Charlie Kirk is live. Realize I probably should not have gone live at the same time as Bongino. Although maybe now let's see, Bongino was live. I think quartering is going to start soon. Let's see if I can get Trump trial live. And it doesn't seem to be okay. So I'm gonna go find a link here. I'm not sure if anybody's stream. Ooh, no, that's get my own videos up there. Let's see if we can't find the trial. Trump trial live. Donald Trump live at the Republican Coalition. That's 23 hours ago. Okay, so I think CNN 18. Oh my goodness. Let's see if they have the same trigger warning that they had yesterday. Yeah. Okay, I mean, look, I'll bring it up just for 2 seconds. I don't know what the heck they're doing with the audio there. Trigger warning. Expletives seen, heard in recordings from January 6th. Oh my goodness. Expletives.
Over the course of the day, how did the crowd attack you?
So I don't know if this is live. They were having live replays, which really made everything different. So we're not going to do this, people, because it's inaudible. And now they're saying, and it's going to be, the evidence is going to consist of officers who were assaulted, people who were scared, some politicians who were crying, and then they're going to say Trump did all of this because of his tweets. I'm going to take this off. It's unwatchable. Unwatchable, and some might say deliberately so, if one wants to think conspiratorially. I've got some funny thing in the background anyhow. We're going to have something fun to watch. Oh, Good Logic is streaming it live, so let me see if I can find Good Logic So anybody who wants to watch it there, maybe I'll try to pop on later. It's Halloween. I got to start getting set up for Halloween. Oh, maybe I was watching it from yesterday. And yeah, if anybody wants to go watch, hey, let's do a little streamception here. I see you, Joe. Hey, Joe.
How confident are you in your conclusion that Donald Trump
Look at the exhibit. They're making a little graph.
played a central role, led these events?
Central role, led the events.
Why is that?
It's in the evidence. It's from my years of studying how far-right extremists.
Oh, they got an expert on the stand.
Communication, the relationship.
Let's see if Joe knows that I'm watching him.
Over multiple years, the various.
They've got a far-right extremist expert on the stand now testifying as to how Trump led this with his words. Peaceful. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. When you say peaceful, it means violence. Okay, so anyways, we're not going to do that. I'll go watch it and then keep up and just, maybe do a summary tomorrow. Tomorrow, by the way, I got Christine Anderson coming on at noon, and I'm going to see if I can get another guest. But Christine Anderson, the member of European Parliament, she's coming on. We're going to talk, and I'll watch the trial today and just give you the summary because it's painful to watch. It's not even entertaining trial. The audio makes it almost impossible to follow. And it doesn't make for good live reaction, live stuff. But I'll clip and snip and share, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow. Now, in funny news-ish, we're not listening to this whole thing. Actually, I'll read the tweet first, because I had to make sure the tweet was mildly accurate. I think it is. This is James Fishback, who is Incubate Debate, head of Macro Green Lake. I don't know what this is. Chief Investment Officer, Azoria founder. Okay. He tweets out, what you are about to watch is the final round of the most prestigious national high school debate tournament. Team A proceeds to tell Team B that they will not be debating the assigned topic, benefits, costs of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. I mean, I guess it's an easy way of getting out of a topic that you absolutely don't understand. Because trans people are being genocided by MAGA Republicans, and that is way more important than debating the IMF. Okay. I won't play the whole thing, but I'll play some of it. And I double-checked. It was, in fact, the legit debating tournament from 2001.
Thousands of demonstrators demand that New York City do more to help those suffering from AIDS. Resistance took the form of non-cooperation. Demonstrators had to be dragged to paddy wagons, many shouting as they were carried away. Do you think you really accomplished a great deal?
Yes, I think we do. What else can we do?
I actually judged at the public speaking competition in Arizona over the summer. I'm not sure that you're even allowed props in the debate, like audio clips. I'm not sure. Maybe the rules are different. I was trying to actually look up the rules of this particular debate to see if it would be a disqualifiable offense to actually rely on a prop. I didn't get an answer to that, but I have that question. But regardless, okay, they're playing a clip.
I've done everything. I've called everybody. I've got appointments with everybody. I've got to come to City Hall and state my case. We're dying. The city is dying.
I don't know that man's name, but I know a little of the hopelessness and the horrible sinking fear in his voice. Here's how I prepped for the TOC. I woke up a week before and learned that 28 instead of 27 states wanted to kill me.
The clip I played is from the 1987 ACTA protest in New York City. It was not the first and certainly not the last demonstration of its kind. It joins a tradition of trans and queer protest against institutions and to reform communities that are violent and exclusive.
Setting aside all of the substance, this is sorry. When we were judging, we were told don't use words like bad or don't use negative words. Use like the inverse quality, like excellent, great, not as great. This presentation requires a lot of improvement for a debate. I know it's doing it digitally Zoom. It's all not easy, not intuitive. Eye contact means making contact with the camera, not with your computer, but reading your speech is never a good method of public debate, but whatever, I'm being a little harsh.
We are here to join this tradition in our own small way. So welcome to the protest. We are tired of how debate treats trans people. More than that, we are tired of the way that their treatment is normalized, how it is treated as a necessary byproduct of having good discourse. When a nationally ranked team
The judge is taking notes over here.
to make trans people uncomfortable in front of an 11-person panel and not be called out for it, something needs to change. When a trans kid can go 3 years in debate believing being misgendered was simply something he needed to take in order to win ballots, something needs to change. When almost every trans person quits debate or considers quitting several times a month, several times a week, several times a day, something needs to change. First, the framework. Status quo political discourse remains fixated on the notion of the child, symbol of a future society we must protect.
Okay, I think we've...
Politicians, for this reason, queerness finds itself in violence that happens to allow for a possibility of the future, ensures that it's the sacrifice of all vital...
I mean, this is yeah. I took out the wrong camera. So, then the counter team then went on to say, we concede. Victory. Everything about this is wrong. The coddling of children, the search for victimhood, the valorization of victimhood, the deriving of meaning and social importance through victimhood and not through accomplishments. If I were a judge, I'm sure I would have been able to disqualify them for the rules because you have to debate the subject. For poetry, that's good. I mean, I'm not saying that to be demeaning. If it were in these oratory competitions, you have debate, you have speech and debate, you have you have like parliamentary debate, 2-on-2, 1-on-1, policy issues, but then you have performance, you have interpretation, you have one where you use a prop, like anything, and you use it as a prop to symbolize your, as you go through your speech. There are other methods of getting that message out there without hijacking and bypassing the actual debate. Instant disqualification. But beyond that, first of all, also not knowing the history of the AIDS epidemic. They should read the real Anthony Fauci. They might, not be necessarily supporting some of the policies that they're doing now. They're like Zoom meetings. But the constant deriving of importance, value, social status through victimhood. It's astonishing. I want to just bring up, I didn't have this one on the menu to end with, but we'll do it now anyhow because it's going to be apropos to pull out a little bit of the French. A prime example of deriving a sense of self-importance through manufactured victimhood. This individual right here. Always coming through libs of TikTok, man. I don't know how she's got to have a good network of moles out there that just find these videos and filter them her way. This individual, I'll play.
It looks like he's having a nice feast.
She, her.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's all good.
It's all good. Can you imagine that this guy actually just, by the looks of it, set up his camera and asked the chef to explain what he's eating at the restaurant? Setting it up, knowing damn well what maybe not even 90% of the world would do, but what most people would think, okay, it's not because someone is dressed up effeminately or like a woman that they're not a man. I mean, there could be a lot of things going on here. Sets it up and asks him, tell the camera what I'm doing. And when the guy does exactly what he knows is going to happen, he then gets offended at being misgendered.
It looks like he's having a nice feast.
She, her.
I mean, it's got to be a gag.
It's okay. It's all good.
It's got to be a gag to get the montage so they can put it on Twitter, but who knows?
It was not all good.
Hi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not sir. Yeah, like it's like a knife in the heart. I did specifically ask ahead of time not to be called sir. Yeah, I'm just going to go.
It's got to be deliberate to create a gag.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
It's just always like a knife. It always hurts every single time. I was wondering if there's a manager I could talk to about something that happened. Yeah, I was called sir. Oh, okay. It just really sucks every time it happens.
We'll stop.
I don't need to be called ma'am. I just need to not be called sir.
I don't need you to follow my specific commands as to what words you will use, but you need to follow my specific commands as to what words you will not use. And if you don't, I become a victim. I attain social status through that victimhood, not through any accomplishments of anything. I don't know. Maybe the food reviews that he does are actually good, but I attain social status, importance, and obedience not through any achievement of my own, but only through my victimhood. Rubbish is what that is. All right, now, let me see what we've got going on here. Let's take a little bit of the chat before we come on over to the Viva Barnes Law. .locals.com after party. The link is there. Come join. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. I'm going to have to read them first. Rob A says, sir, sue them. Sigh. SGT Justice says, stupid parents having stupid kids. I'm just trying to think. When I was a kid, I looked for attention in a variety of ways. In the way I dressed, in the color of my hair. But I mean, that's the whole point, actually. It's kids are stupid. I've got 3 of them. They're stupid. Some are less stupid than others. They look for attention in whatever is the trending, rebellious way of the day. And so all that this highlights is that it is a social contagion, period. There's nothing about fundamental rights, intrinsic, essential who I am. It's a trend. And as such, fine, do whatever the hell you want. To the extent you're not doing permanent damage, that's when the permanent damage comes into play, that's when it becomes an issue. What color was my hair, says Prick and Morton's. It was orange at one point. Then it was like this, but streak blonde at another point. I think I put together a picture of the various hairs of Viva Frei. It's in the locals community. I know Talix, our meme master, put something together. But I had, at one point it was, I dyed it pink for a day and then I cut it. But it didn't look very good. Okay, what else we got in the chat here? Alex Stein needs a video like this. Microplastics No Bueno says Canadian picker. I've actually heard people talk about endocrine disruptors. Dude, okay, I don't know if this, I'm not going to read it. Joe 56984. Hold on. Joe 56984. Oh, let's see this here. Greta. It can't be true. It can't be true. Okay, it's not true. Jeez Louise, I was going to read it out loud and then someone's going to quote me as having spread disinformation. I can just hear Mama Fry kvetching. That's from Megaland Marco. Oh, okay, so that's it. Everybody, I haven't missed any Rumble Rants. We're going to go over to locals, do our after party. Then I'm going to go start getting ready for Halloween. I seem to have missed a chat here that... Okay, that's it. So let's go over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Everyone go enjoy Halloween. The torturous Halloween where kids start eating candy, compulsively feel sick, don't sleep well, and then say, and then they wake up the next morning. Give me candy. It'll be good. So go, enjoy the day. I'm heading over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Tomorrow, I'll either go live at 11:30 or noon, but either way, Christine Anderson, that extremist, she's coming on my channel again. We're going to talk for a bit, so I'm either going to go live at 11:30, do a little intro, then have Christine on for max 1 hour, I think. And then maybe I'll just do another synopsis of today of the trial and see whatever else is going on. I Like Fish says, haha, Viva got tired of this gloriously toxic chat. Dude, everywhere. It's everywhere. It's not Rumble. YouTube chat is toxic. Twitter replies toxic. It'll blow over. It's like now it makes discussion virtually impossible. So all that to say, I will see you all tomorrow if you're not coming over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Thank you for being here. Go check out Neerman live coverage, quartering. Bongino, go watch what he did this morning, this afternoon. It's endless live streaming information. Broaden your horizon, understand the world, and try to laugh where laughter is still humanly possible in this world of ever darkness. But it's always darkest before the dawn or before the full blackout. Go enjoy the day if you're not coming over to locals. Peace out, everybody. See you soon. Did I do it? Yeah, I did it. Okay. Locals. Oh, did he say what he's going to be? Obnoxious. Okay, we got Mighty Pay. All right, everybody. Good to see you. I might run and go get an energy drink out of the fridge. But while we do this, it'll be energy with Viva, I want to view tipped. Bill Brown has got a mini chainsaw. And it says, it's cold today. And I get that joke. for no reasons of personal experience, Bill Brown. USA Now says, I heard you talking over Bourbon with Barnes this week by doing vodka with Viva. Oh, I heard you taking over Bourbon with Barnes. Vodka with Viva. See, I could do that, but I like gin. I'd have to do like gin with... I can't do the night stuff anyhow. I gotta go. And I gotta actually just like work on my sleep. But speaking of that, give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna run and get an energy drink. Hold on. Oh. No, stay. Okay, get her. Okay. Oh, Jesus, my sciatic. Oh. Okay, I'm here. My butt hurts. And I'm stretching. I got a new pair of running shoes. $159 for ASIC Cayano gels. Seems like a very lot of money. Okay, let's go take some questions in the chat and see what's going on. Okay, alrighty. I'm still on the fence as to whether or not Celsius is a healthy energy drink alternative, but it doesn't have sugar in it. It just has artificial sweeteners and whatnot and all that jazz. Okay, back to the chat here. Let's see what's going on. Whatever's on your mind, bring it in the chat. We got Trudeau, the quicker fucker up. Okay, that's funny. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and screen grab that, and I'm gonna share that later. The quicker fucker. Does everybody remember? Do they still have that? The quicker picker upper. Okay, that came in from Michigan Winter Days, and then everyone says brilliant. Okay, we got, I'm not making fun of what's his face. Okay, cool beans and thanks, Viva. That's Maria. Okay, maybe he really had to pee. No. I would tell you. We got this. Okay, energy drink. I feel terrible. Drinks a Red Bull. Now I feel terrible and fast. Yeah, Red Bull, there's just so much sugar in just one of those. What is the deal with... So, DeSantis. So we'll get back in and have a little humorous discussion. Some people were talking about personality traits, like diagnosable personality traits that might make DeSantis, not pick up on humor. I've never met him, and I don't know if anybody has any insights on that. I've heard a number of theories about that. Michigan Winter, this is lots to watch. There is. Okay, let's get say sir 3 times like Beetlejuice. What else? Hold on one second here. Let me bring this over. Well, get some questions in the chat. I'm going to look to see. There's a discussion going on Twitter. No, it's you notice it's like people are just going to sabotage chats, sabotage. They're just not sabotage, but like just hey, come in. Let's talk about the most divisive political stuff on earth, stuff that nobody's ever going to agree on. And I keep saying like I have to just avoid the discussion of. It's like everybody is going to have an opinion on the Palestine-Israel conflict. On both ends, you're never going to have a nuanced enough opinion to not be called an extremist one way or the other by either side. It's complex is an understatement. It can be simplified, and there are certain things that are cut and dry, except for the solution. There was a meme that someone put up, and it's a very poignant meme, and it shows an Israeli bomb landing on a house, killing the family, but a kid lives. And then the kid grows up, a kid is crying. And meme 1 is the bomb. Meme 2 or the graph 2 is a kid. And then the graph 3 is an adult. The kid became an adult and became a member of whatever is the terrorist organization of the time. Okay, so EO Delicious says, I'm not reading this on my... This is not my statement. DeSantis is a high-functioning autist with sociopathic tendencies. That's how he got handpicked for his role in the military. That's what I've been hearing. And having very close experience with high-functioning autistic people, the not picking up on humor, not reading the room, not reading other people's cues is one of the very, very distinct, subtle but distinct attributes. So, Oh, here we go. We got BootGate, a Jack Posobiec tweet, and it says, "Happy Halloween from Jill and me." Hold on. How did it open up to that tweet that has nothing to do with BootGate? Jack Posobiec tweeted out, oh, Mary Boot. Okay, so hold on. Hold on. What is this? I'm going to watch this. We're going to watch this together for the first time with audio. Jack Poso, Mary Bootmas. What is this?
Take 2. POV, you're Ron DeSantis getting ready to go out.
Oh, this is the original Ashley St. Clair video. Okay, now some jokes are making more sense to me. I didn't get that thick into the weeds of the DeSantis BootGate, but I noticed that Ashley Sinclair put out an apology tweet, which I couldn't tell if it was an outright joke or a joke of an apology because she didn't want to have to make the apology, but someone was actually sincerely offended. Now it makes sense. And so that was Ashley Sinclair with Ron DeSantis' face over. He looked wacky walking on the stage. Why would anyone wear heels? You're the height that you are. Embrace it. I've never. That's Maria. Boots have a natural heel. It's meant to keep them from slipping in the saddle and the stirrup. It's not a heel like a woman's heel. No, but I think what Maria is saying, just January, is that there was an insert in the boot to artificially prop up his heel so that he would actually gain a few inches. That's what Maria is saying. I don't know who the hell gives a sweet bugger all about their height. Like, people make fun of me on the internet. Like, they think, I mean, it's so stupid that they actually, trolls will come out and like make a joke at my height and think I give a crap. They actually don't even realize that it's the most amazing compliment. And I remember this from my childhood. My dad's not a tall man either. And he met someone who he had only, in the practice of law, I remember for whatever reason I was there. And they had only known each other through the practice and through a file. And then they met in person and the guy said to my dad, "I thought you were taller." That's an amazing compliment. It means that you exude an aura beyond your 5'5", or my dad's actually 5'6", stature. That's a compliment. It's so stupid. It's so superficial. But then it's like, not to get too crass, like people care about the size of their genitals, their boobs. Like, who the hell cares about these things? My joke, big enough to make 3 kids, that's all that matters. I welcome the boot debate, says Mel VS. Then we got political. 3 expert shoemakers say Ron DeSantis is probably wearing height boosters. What was this comic? I have the book. Who am I looking at right here? It was called Cyanide and Happiness. KRM. Okay, let's read it. Does your dog bite? No, but it can hurt you in other ways. If your campaign could take a joke, you'd be polling in double digits. And then they cry. That's funny. Okay. They might be polling in double digits, but they still wouldn't have any sort of a chance. Okay, good. What else is on the minds of our locals community? Oh, so we got the locals chat. It's just a question of finding the day that works and a time, because I go live during the day. So it might just be a locals exclusive evening one, because people have daytime jobs, like actual jobs that are not, can't just up and do whatever they want whenever they want. So it's going to happen. Second thing, so tomorrow, Christine Anderson at noon, Mar-a-Lago in the evening. I see a meme of me there. Mar-a-Lago in the evening for Dinesh D'Souza's police state. Booyah. And I don't know if Trump is going to be there, but I think he will be there, because I noticed something about Secret Service telling us not to bring certain items, as if anybody had the flipping head examined. Gypsy Mew says, it is not only the heel, the toes of all of his boots and shoes are too long, like stuffed. He might have very small feet as well. See, I'll tell you one thing. I got a size 9.5 foot, which is abnormal for a man who's only 5'5.5". Now I got me standing next to my 5-foot board. And who's the comic I had him on? I forgot. Oh, geez. His name has a T in it. Oh, he's going to kill me if he sees this. I can't remember his name right now. The stand-up comic is hilarious and has Tyler Fisher. Jeez. A lot of his humor is about being small, but I think it's 2023. I don't think people care about that. Ah, the memes. Too good, says Mel VS. Okay. And now we got him in those white boots. That's because that was when he was going through like dirty water for the hurricane. Spinnaker says, I've yet to meet a guy that cares about the size of a woman's boobs. I don't. Checkmate, Spinnaker. Height isn't all it's cracked up to be. My ex was 6'8". It hurt looking up that high. No, and then also like airplanes. My goodness. I don't have to buy business class, or not business, what's the other one? First class, because I get just as good in business. Okay, let me see this. This is a meme here. Me explaining how there's a theory that DeSantis wears inserts in his boots to appear taller, but he's adamantly denied it. But then his girl named Ashley made a joke video about it, and Ron's campaign attacked her. And then this podcast asked him to try on normal shoes, but Ron awkwardly said no. Now Ron's campaign is accusing anyone that talks about it of having a foot fetish. But this guy Jack launched a hashtag BootGate to make it trend on Twitter, and Politico wrote an article about it. My wife. Okay, that's funny. Dude, where do you get these freaking memes from? It's like it never ends. Yeah, Tyler Fisher, he's amazing. And when I'm getting Ryan Long on. I'm getting Ryan Long on because he's absolutely amazing as well. Oh my goodness, I forgot to talk about the thing that I actually wanted to talk about. Roseanne Boyland. Oh, are we going to actually have an exclusive here that anybody who didn't come over is going to regret having not come over? Roseanne Boyland. Okay, so there's an article now that's in the news. It's in Epoch Times. Julie Kelly tweeted it out. I'm gonna give everybody the link to the article. That's not the right one. The Epoch Times did a piece on Roseanne Boyland. You know what? I'll give you the link. No, I shared it already. I shared the article in Locals. I wanted to talk about it. Roseanne Boyland, according to her family, did not die of methamphetamine overdose. What ultimately happened, allegedly, according to her family, and you have to assume that the family also has a vested interest in not a specific outcome, but they might be biased. Yeah, nobody wants a kid, between, it's such just an abject tragedy one way or the other. But the media comes out and says that your kid died of a drug overdose at a Trump rally. And if they didn't, you're gosh darn right you're going to want to prove that. You might also have a bias to choose to believe, the less, there's no less tragic way of dying, but you know what I'm getting at, between a parent accepting the fact that their kid who had a drug addiction relapsed and died of a drug overdose versus, assaulted to death by police officers or trampled upon. You know what they might prefer, so there might be some bias, implicit bias in there. The family did an interview with the Epoch Times. The journalist, I reached out to him. His name is Joe Hanneman of the Epoch Times. They say her death was mischaracterized from the beginning. They said an amphetamine overdose, or amphetamines were found in the blood, and apparently amphetamine is the active ingredient in Adderall versus methamphetamine, which is meth, which is a far different thing. But does the public understand the difference between methamphetamine and amphetamine? I'm going to venture out and say no, because I didn't know the difference, and I'm a hypochondriacal lunatic. They said that the initial cause of death was wrong, that they initially revised it, and then said that the amphetamine, she's on a prescription Adderall, which apparently she was able to tolerate despite her history of addiction, was in her body. They said that they detected high levels of amphetamine in her body, which might have had to do with she was overweight, which is one of the explanations, or they took the sample from an area that tends to have, concentrated post-mortem levels of amphetamine if it's in the bloodstream. But nonetheless, the initial news that she died of a medical emergency following a drug overdose, they say is false. Whether or not it's, she got hit in the chest. Apparently she got hit by a projectile, beaten with sticks. There's some video, crushed, suffocated. Whether or not it's contributive, who the hell knows? Can't write that off. But I remember the media running with it. She was one of the medical emergencies, drug overdose. And the family spoke out and wants the truth to be known, that they had an independent expert revise it afterwards and say, no, there might have been interplay, but she died of asphyxiation. Many pisses. I'm sure her death had nothing to do with them beating the hell out of her. And so I want to get her family on and talk about it because it is. You imagine, I just say the ultimate irony. Apparently, Julie Kelly also said that the coroner who pressured for the police death in George Floyd was also involved in this. Let me actually just read her tweet so I don't make a mistake on this. I said it's just outrageous. You know, George Floyd, who ostensibly, and I think we're now seeing some evidence, died of an overdose. They blamed it on police brutality. Roseanne Boyland, who now it would seem died of police brutality, they blame it on overdose. And Julie Kelly writes in response to my tweet. So I just said exactly what I just said about the two, you know, accusing your adversaries or doing what you're accusing your adversaries of doing, vice versa. Julie Kelly says, funny story. This is the same office that put public pressure on Hennepin County coroner to change his assessment of Floyd's death. You know, a police brutality death at a second police brutality death, because we're not going to forget about Ashley Babbitt, shot point blank in the neck. No warning that anybody heard by all accounts. A second police brutality death at January 6th is politically inconvenient. A police brutality death of George Floyd, who even by the video was out of sorts, is politically convenient. So it plays well. And that's all I have to say about that. Okay, KRM has posted another one. It says, took me a while to get this, but I think BootGate is going to trend soon. Okay, these memes are getting out of control. So that's it. Thinboy6 says, have you seen this one, Viva? I like to call it Diet Coke and Retribution +5. Let's see what this is. Oh yeah, this is the guy getting hit in the head. I was thinking about this, man. This is crazy. Hold on, let's watch this. It's short and it's not the other violent one that was circulating earlier today. Okay, here we go. I don't think there's audio for this. Shoplifter. I'm still, man. Call me old-fashioned. I would rather let the shoplifter get away with shoplifting. Although this is getting into a point of violence now. It doesn't look like a glass bottle. I don't know what the law is gonna be on this. That dude this guy's right here. Look at him. That's wild that he was actually successfully able to do that. All right, I'm going to consult with an online attorney and see if they think that is justifiable under the circumstances or not. He has an arm on him. I don't know if that's a weapon or just a joke about his two arms. Okay, so that is it, everybody. No, it's a 2-liter plastic bottle. Man, one hell of a shot. This guy was like over 10 feet away. Anyway, yeah, that was it. They don't make the glass bottles anymore anyhow. I guess I'm still back in the 80s. My grandmother, we'll end with this anecdote, used to go, what's the statute of limitations? Well, she's not alive anymore anyhow. I'm all joking about that, but my grandmother used to go and, do the what's it called? Not draft, bulk alcohol. And so she used to fill up those old glass Diet Coke bottles of vodka. I don't know how much money she saved by getting it draft, but in our house, we would have like 24 glass Coke bottles filled with vodka because my grandmother, got a good deal on it somewhere. And, yeah. EO Delicious says, the thrower looked like he had trained on throwing axes. That's 2 kilograms. It's going to knock someone out cold, says Finboy Slick. Yeah. Quarterback signing coming up. Yeah. I think that he might have a better bowling career because you do that. You could do like the Belmonte, the Belmo. Viva, please ask local support to fix the time to process streams. It's taking forever on longer videos. Okay, got to do that. Got to ask Chris about populating Rumble subscriptions alphabetically. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to go. The kids are coming back soon. We're going to set up for Halloween, and I'm going to try to Rekindle my love for I love Halloween. I just know that the weight of the world is turning me sour when I'm no longer as excited for Halloween as I used to be. Reading a chat that I'm not reading out loud. Stillwater says, Viva, I met your friend Dr. Sad over the weekend. You guys should write a book on relationships. I hope he's doing good, man. He's in Canada. He's in Montreal, no less. Okay, see, that's it. The world is souring me. I feel like a bit of a black pill, and I don't like the way it feels because I've never loved any holiday more than Halloween, and I felt like my edge of excitement almost, understandably quelled, extinguished by the awfulness of the world in which we live. So I'm going to go out there now, set up. Yesterday I bought a, you guys know what that Century Bob thing is? If you don't know what Century, some of you are going to know what Century Bob is, but hold on. Now we're really going to end it. We're going to end it on this. Century Bob. I bought Century Bob. Stop screen, present screen. It's the torso thing that you beat. Okay, here we go. Century Bob. I actually got it. I was cheaper than $4.99. I got it for $3 something at Dick's Sporting Goods. # not an ad. I've wanted this I wanted to get this at the law firm so that we could have it at the law firm and release some anger. But I finally got one. So I'm going to go out and kick the crap out of it. It's much better on elbows. It's much better for the short elbows and the body punches. Punching the face with no gloves still kind of hurts, so I might tape up my knuckles. But it does feel good to really just freaking, God, you nail your fist under its rib cage, short elbow to the face. So I'm going to go do that. But all that to say is I got that. I'm going to use that as a prop for Halloween and the box. So there will be children, crying. There will be surprises, but we will be dispensing candy. So everybody, go for it. Punch it out. Thank you for being here. As always, thank you for everything. Oh, wait. I noticed there's one more tip in there, I think. Mighty Pest says, everything that happened on January 6th is so sad and disgusting. Our government actors killed U.S. citizens and politically persecuted so many, and way too many cheered on. Mother Cabri, mother effer. Agreed. So, go enjoy Halloween. We're going to do this. I'm going to end it. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out. Seriously, everybody, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.